Welcome back to the COS Business Podcast. My name is Andrew Hasley, and I am the host of the show. Today we have on Lauren Chessmore with Clarity for Your Chaos. Can you tell us what you do?
I am a professional organizer here in the Colorado Springs area and beyond. We are the solution to the stuck you feel when you look at a project, whether or not it's in your home or your business, or if it happens to be your life. In general, we do productivity coaching as well to help people. Yes.
That's cool. I can't wait to get into that in this episode, but first, I'm going to read the advertisements.
Of course.
Our first ad for today is Robert Phelan with Atmos Planning, or just Atmos Planning. Atmos Planning is changing the way business owners and real estate investors are served by the financial industry. They take an innovative approach through their personal CFO model to help visionaries maximize their net worth, impact, and quality of life. On top of all that, their clients typically save 20 to 30% in taxes, even if they are already working with a CPA or bookkeeper. If you have a goal to reach $1 million in revenue or more, a $1 million plus real estate portfolio, or a $1 million plus in after-tax profit, while making an impact on the people around you, schedule a call today. Their website is atmosplanning, atmosplanning.com. Yes, that one had a little less hiccups than last time.
Yes.
And I'm excited. I appreciate Robert, sponsoring the show and helping make the show possible. And that leads into my next ad, which is the advertising space for the podcast. If you'd like me to promote your show at the beginning of every episode, read an ad script, then we can make that happen. It's essentially like a referral from the podcast. So
nice.
Yeah, it's directly from me, I guess.
That's awesome. It's always good to be able to get more out there and support businesses.
Yeah, and it's a really cool way and a unique way, and I think it's a really personalized way to advertise, and it's just an interesting avenue, I guess.
Yeah.
And reach out to cosbusinesspodcast@gmail.com or directly to me if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or wherever.
Nice.
And or listening to it on the audio versions, because if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, there are audio versions to this that are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. What's the other big ones? Spotify, yes. 100% Spotify.
That's what I do.
Yes.
Because I'm usually in the car, so it's so nice to be able to listen to my podcasts while I'm driving places.
Exactly. And I used to not use Spotify for podcasts. Actually, I still don't. I just didn't like their interface. Maybe they've upgraded it, but I'm not hating on Spotify right now, but just in case they want to give me a $100 million deal like they did Joe Rogan. Just kidding, but yeah, that's the second advertising space or advertisement, and the third one is my video production company, Vehement Visuals. We help businesses tell their stories through the power of video and help them grow their companies through the power of strategic video planning as well. So that's Vehement Visuals in a nutshell. There is some new things working on Vehement Visuals that I'm working on. I have some different visions with it, and I'm excited about that, but I'm not going to get into that in this episode. So I'm going to roll the intro music, and we'll get started. That's not the intro music. This is a show where we have real conversations with entrepreneurs and business owners who are mostly in Colorado Springs, doing things in the community of Colorado Springs. I love keeping those little small mistakes in there. I think it adds character and makes it more authentic, and it would be ridiculous if I stumbled over a word in my ad script and be like, cut, we're going to restart from the beginning. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, we're human. And I think that our generation is coming to find that striving for perfection isn't possible. Mm-hmm. And that's where a lot of the issues are coming from, is that we're trying to be perfect and we can't be, because it's not an actual thing that's attainable. Exactly,
yeah. And it also holds you back from doing anything a lot of the times, I think. Yeah. Like, people wait until they have everything in line, everything perfectly to go forward on their dreams or whatever, you know, or could be anything. Going to the grocery store,
I mean, right now, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And yeah, so your business, how long have you been doing this?
So I started my business November of last year, and I didn't have my first client until January of this year.
Okay.
And I was working a full-time job up until the middle of March.
Okay.
And I had put in my notice to do this full-time, and then everything got shut down.
Oh, yeah, dang.
It's great. But, I mean, as soon as everything got opened back up again, I've been slammed. I mean, honestly, I am so grateful for the opportunity to be able to do what we do, Now, backtracking, I have been researching organization for over 13 years for my own personal self. So I have ADHD, and I was diagnosed at a very young age. And when I was 21, I stopped taking the medicines because I didn't like the medicines that they put me on. And I started researching things that I can do naturally in order to keep my executive functions less dysfunctional. And my aha moment was when I lost my license because I got too many speeding tickets. That's the thing that they will do.
Yeah, they'll take it away.
Yeah, and they also make you take a time management course because the number one reason that people speed is lack of time management. And that was my aha moment. I was like, okay, I really need to get on top of these executive functions.
They're getting down to the source on that.
Yeah,
I like that.
I really love that they did that because instead of just being like, go do your community service, they were like, we got to address the problem. And the problem is you need to do time blocking.
I never thought about that. That's cool. Yeah.
Right. And so ever since I was 21 and that moment where I was like, okay, I got to get it together because I'm 21 and I don't have a license.
For sure. Yeah, that sucks.
And I've just been studying organization, productivity, how to help people that are neurodivergent specifically create and obtain the goals that they want to obtain and follow through on those. And then, I wanted to have children, so I needed to figure out how can I keep our schedules? How can I keep up with a house if I have ADHD and my, there's going to be days where my brain is just like, nope, we're not doing it. We're not doing the things. You're going to get to stare at the fan today.
I feel you on that. I was diagnosed with ADHD at a young age too. And I stopped taking the meds because I don't like the way they make you feel. It's literally legal methamphetamines.
It really is.
That's what it is.
And the reason that it is because we have such low dopamine in our brains. And so what that does is it increases the amount of dopamine. So then the more we actually can catch more signals. Because really we're not, if you think about it, it's like playing Pong, but we're missing a lot of the signals. We're like on the other side, like. And instead, when we're given amphetamines, we're actually able to catch up with the signals and the signals are being done more, so we're able to obtain more. So that's where organization came into play for me. And then it wasn't until last year that I was really searching for my purpose, everything that I wanted to be doing. And I had 4 friends in 1 week on separate occasions all tell me to be a professional organizer. At which point, by the 4th one, I was like, okay, I hear you loud and clear.
Why were they saying that?
I was like, I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll join the Air Force. Maybe I'll do this. And they were like, Lauren, you know what you need to do. You need to be a professional organizer. People would pay for that. And you're amazing at it. You're disgustingly organized. Like, thank you. I appreciate being called disgustingly organized. It's just how I'm trying to keep up with my own brain.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm able to now take that struggle that I had and help other people with that by creating systems to help keep them, on track or utilizing their brain where it has always been something that they've been belittled for to their advantage and show them the superpowers that they can use it. Like we have an issue with object permanence, but that doesn't mean that we can't still remember that things are there. We just have to place things in front of us. So in an ADHD home, things are going to be out in the open and not tucked away because we forget that they're there all the time. There's going to be different systems that we create for each and every individualized person to help them succeed in the way that they best need to succeed by building off of the systems that they already have.
Yeah. So what does some of that look like when you go in and do that?
So I had one client, so he was a insurance agent, and he had, with all insurance agents, I haven't met any of them that don't have a significant amount of paper, which can get overwhelming for any person, let alone somebody who might be neurodiverse. He wasn't necessarily, but he would also take Post-it notes and put them all over the house, right, to remind him, or all over his office. But then everything gets lost in the Post-it notes.
Yeah.
Because now you've created object blindness because there's so many Post-it notes, your body can't even function. So he had these beautiful glass doors, and I gave him some chalk markers, and I was like, this is where you're going to write your things down because it's right there in front of you. It's constantly changing. It's basically the concept of a whiteboard without having to have a whiteboard. And it has that system along with a brain dump system in the morning on one piece of paper where he's constantly cycling through his to-do list, and he knows, you just take the 3 things from the to-do list, and that's all you have to do today. You just ignore the rest. It's fine. Like, it'll be okay. Just
because if you get those 3 things done, then you can move on to the next thing.
Then you can move on if you want to. If you don't,
exactly.
then you don't have to. But at least you still felt productive for the day, and you're not overwhelmed by it, because the to-do list is always going to be there. Your care tasks are always going to be there. It's going to fill up.
You take out 1, 3 more come in.
Exactly. It's just a constant cycle, and that's just part of it. It's managing that cycle. Is what we want to help people with, the care tasks that they have. We like to call them care tasks. They're not chores, because when you put a negative connotation on them, doing the laundry, that's providing yourself clean clothes. That's self-care.
Yes.
That's caring for your family and your children. Doing the dishes and making sure that there's clean dishes, that's self-care. If you have dishes in your sink, that has nothing to do with your self-worth.
Yeah. There's a book I was just listening to last week. It was actually a book review. I don't know if you've heard it. I'm trying to remember the name. It was like Get Things Done or something like that. But they talk about organizing things, like, organizing tasks, not just things, like organizing your mental.
Yes. And sometimes that's the part that you need to start on. I had a client that recently moved, and she was also a friend of mine. So I took the kids for the first night that they were in the house, and I was like, you guys take the day. And they were like, we weren't that productive. We just got like all this stuff planned out. I'm like, that was very productive. You were able to take the time to set up a plan, and you were able to think, because your children, who you've been around for 24 hours for the entire year of 2020, were not there. And you were actually able to think, process, and plan. And now you can actually execute those plans more efficiently. So now it
feels good too when you actually put on paper a plan, even if you're not like gonna jump on it right then. It feels good, especially like not even just like a plan for things to do, but budgeting is one thing that stresses me out.
Yes.
If I don't do it, and sometimes I put it off for so long, and then like it's like, why do I have all this stress right now?
Yeah.
It's because there's so much ambiguity in my finances. It's like
oh yeah,
I think I'm okay.
I think everything's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
And I honestly, like, we got so busy through November and December that I did that exact same thing, because I had been running my own budget and everything like that. We're Dave Ramsey people, so we're very budget conscious. But it got to the point where my executive function would not even go over that. So my husband and I have spent the last week redoing the whole budget, planning our new budget for 2021, and now I've hired a bookkeeper, because guess what? That's one part of those tasks that my executive function, it sometimes shuts down on, and I cannot have my executive function shut down on that part of my business.
For sure.
So I bring in reinforcements. So I always talk about, know your weaknesses and know your strengths and support your weaknesses. So for my husband and I, my whole family, we all have ADHD. Okay. So we hire somebody to clean our house once a month. Okay. It's been the best thing we've ever done for our family.
Really?
Yeah, best thing. There's so many less fights between my husband and I about divvying up care tasks, and my kids still help out around the house. They still do care tasks themselves. They pitch in with family contributions. So it's not like they don't understand that part of it.
Yeah, because once a month, but the floors need vacuuming probably more than that.
Well, we bought a robot.
Okay, nice. Okay, see, that's automation right there, though. Yeah,
exactly. But we understand the things that we struggle with, and we support those in our life in order to create more opportunity for us to enjoy the things that we're doing.
Do you think robots are going to replace your job?
Maybe like for the actual like hanging clothes and moving things around to make it
maybe
aesthetic.
You'll go in and program the robot.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go in and program the robot in order to do what it needs to do. Yeah. But you still need a human to be able to talk to you and create systems off of what you want.
Yeah. So you build a plan. You go in and so say, what's your process look like? How and why would someone reach out to you? Let's start there.
Someone would reach out to us when they feel overwhelmed in general. Just, there's a lot of stuff, or there's a life transition. Either you're moving, because we do packing, unpacking, house setups, or a family member that may have passed away, and now you're left with an entire house that you need to sort through. People that might be going or coming out of a depressive state would call us because they don't know where to start on getting themselves out of that rut. And a lot of times we call that like a reset. And that's where the non-judgmental solution comes in, is that there's no judgment like at all for anything that we walk into. There is a reason, there is emotions, and there are legitimate like people and their feelings as to why people's houses look the way that they do. And none of that has anything to do with who they are as a person and their worth in this community. And so those would be the majority. A lot of times it's moms or business owners that are trying just to get some more systems in place. Or people that want like beautiful Pinterest, like they have a beautiful home, but they just don't know how to like organize it and style it all together, bring those two things together. We would come in and do that for them. And then we do a complimentary consultation. We come into this space, we take a look, we discuss with you what systems are working, what systems aren't working. And then we create, just in that hour-long conversation, typically, it's about an hour, I'm able to figure out exactly what the plan is, create product recommendations, and we go over how much time. What the
exact problem that they need solved is.
Yeah, exactly. We try to break it down to the root, just like Colorado Springs Police Department.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like that's a theme with how you do things, and I like that. I think that's amazing. And it sounds like you're more than just an organizer. You really go in and you help.
Yes.
And it's I love it.
Yeah. The best compliment is when clients call me and they're like, my bedroom still looks amazing, like months later. We've been able to keep up with this. Like I mean, if you want me to come and organize your closet on a monthly basis, I will do that for you. But I want to teach you how to do it yourself, because that's the help that you're asking me for.
For sure. How new is this industry?
It's actually not that new. I mean, I know organizers that have been doing it for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
I think that it's become more prevalent because of the large amount of items that we keep bringing into our house, particularly because of Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, I was just thinking Amazon, yeah.
Because you also have that quick impulse buy, and then it's here, and then, after Christmas, you've got all this stuff, and now people are trying to figure out where to put the stuff that they now have received, especially if they've encountered maybe an overgifter who just gifts them items that they don't even need. What do you do then?
For sure. Yeah. So yeah, I was just thinking like it seems like a new industry, and it may just because I am my own biases. I've just never heard of it really until I met Grace, or Carissa.
Yeah, Carissa. Yeah, she's.
Yeah. But I just never heard of it, so it's probably like I have some internal biases. But maybe there is like a higher demand for it now.
I think so.
And so what made you, like your friends were telling you need to become a professional organizer. What made you like, what was the moment when you like were like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and what were some of the steps you took to make it happen?
So I have ADHD, which comes with impulse control. So I just was like, okay, let's just start a business.
Let's just go.
Let's just do it. And I flew by the seat of my pants for the first, 2 months.
So you're a flyer by the seat of the pants like me as well.
I am.
So that must be an ADHD trait.
It is. It is. I mean, I have set plans. My plan last year was to take 2020 and use that as a guideline as to when I'm going to be, my budget.
Yeah.
So that didn't happen. But
yeah, your budget was like,
my budget was like, bloop. Don't even worry about the first half of the year. It's fine.
Yeah.
But
it's cool how when you really want something though, you make it happen no matter what. Like the amount of money I thought I had when I started Vehement Visuals was way less than I thought I was going to have. And it was before COVID, but it's like, I still was like made things happen somehow. And like, I stumbled forward a little bit.
I know. I feel like sometimes, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all for planning.
Yes,
Clearly, I'm an organizer. I try to keep all my ducks in a row. My husband and I, we do all of our budgeting and planning quarterly. Well, we do monthly, but we do big quarterly budgeting. We did our yearly budget. But I think after you've kind of gotten that big idea, like you were talking about most recently, the vision, it's the details that you can kind of pivot a lot more on.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of ADHDers particularly do well as entrepreneurs, because we're so easy to be like, well, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we're doing this now?
Yeah,
all right.
exactly. Shiny objects.
Cool. Let's do this now. And I think that just I took the leap of faith and I just started doing what made my heart happy. I mean, and the other part of our business that I take pride in is the fact that all of the items that our clients edit down out of their collections, we work really closely with local nonprofits in order to make sure that those are going directly right back into the community.
Nice.
So this is going to get me verklempt. Okay. So we always say, like, who could you bless with your mess? Because there's always somebody out there, even if it's somebody like I had a client who, just got rid of a bunch of clothes. And then I had somebody contact me, needing clothes, or, the single mom who just moved out of a hotel room with her 5 kids. Let's get them a whole kitchen set up because my client just got rid of all their kitchen stuff. Like,
nice.
Why not take these items and donate them to, a veteran's transitional housing for homeless veterans, or, take these items and do more good with them instead of just, and we do use the ARC. Don't get me wrong. When we have large projects that are like, we're taking truckloads, I can't place that many items in a short period of time.
Yeah.
But
it becomes a whole
nother job, which we do plan on filling eventually. That's another, I want to have a specific community liaison.
Like a foundation kind of, or?
Well, I want to have a community liaison and a whole like warehouse where all of my organizers, we drop off our items, they get sorted, and this person is specifically, their job is to organize all of the items that are dropped off based on where they're going and what nonprofit, and contact the nonprofits and get those items to them. So that would be
how does the liaison get paid?
I would pay them out of my own budget. That would be that's something that I want to pay them for.
That's something that you want to give back out of your company.
Out of my company.
Okay.
They would be my community liaison for my company.
Nice.
So that's one of my goals, because then that way, imagine the impact that we can have. And imagine, how many people.
Now you're a social impact business too at
exactly.
the same time. So yeah, I love it. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, so when March happened, you had planned to start the business. The lockdowns were over. How did you get clients?
So I, right before the lockdowns happened, I went to TJ Maxx and I bought every organizing thing that they had. And the poor cashier was like, what is happening? And I was like, don't worry, it's fine. Because I then made videos for the entire lockdown.
Okay, you were building up awareness?
Yeah, I was building up awareness. I created groups. I actually teamed up with 3 other organizers throughout the country, and we actually created like a clutter, what did we call it? Chaos coordinator group where we did challenges and like videos, and we kind of worked on each other. We created a whole plan for we started it, I think it was like a 6-week plan, if memory serves. And then we broke it down and we did like lives every day.
Nice.
And I just worked really hard.
Building a real community.
Yeah, we built a real community. We stayed at the forefront of everybody's minds. I read like 1 million books. I can't even tell you how many books that I actually like devoured during that. I stepped up my social media game, and after that, I also started networking a little. I was networking via Zooms and things that. And after that, I honestly wasn't anticipating even opening my books until June, and I was already getting calls for people in May.
Sweet.
They were like, hey, come to my house. I'm moving. I need, I need my $1.5 million house unpacked. Please unpack my kitchen. I was like, okay. Yes,
so that's
please.
Nice. Yeah.
I would love to. I would be honored, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
And so ever since then, I've just been doing.
You set a pretty good foundation is what it seems like.
Yeah, I tried really hard to set. I had the opportunity to. So even though, not going to lie, lots of panic ensued in March.
For sure.
There was the opportunity to be able to set a really good foundation and also hone my skills in on my own. Just being able to go in and, you see what new products are out there and learn from others and have people learn from me and collaborate with other professional organizers.
Can you provide your service virtually?
Yes, we do offer virtual consultations and virtual packages as well. Typically, with most of my clients, when they've started that, if they're in town, they get halfway through it, and then they're just like, yeah, just come and do it.
Yeah, for
just come
sure.
do it for me. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Because that's the thing is I give you the plan, I give you the resources, I give you you have to give me measurements of the space so that way I make sure things fit.
For sure.
But, you still have to do the work. And if the executive function is not there for you to do it, then that's where we come in and we take care of it for you.
I tried doing a virtual video, something that a product that I provide called a video business card. I tried doing it virtually, and just to get the camera in the right spot, it took us 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
It was basically like, I was trying to direct with my hands behind my back.
Pretty much.
And it was very difficult.
It definitely makes things a lot harder. And you can't see everything. Like there might be a lip in a cabinet that I would have missed in a virtual where if I'm there, I'm like, oh, I have to account for that lip. It comes out about a half an inch. But for the most part, it worked for some clients.
Yeah.
Especially clients that maybe you're really good, you just need the ideas and you just want the plan and you want the product recommendations, but you actually love organizing. That's where that would come into play, because then I'd be able to give you the plan and you'd be like, yes, and then follow the plan, get the products via the links, and then go from there.
For sure. Yeah. So what are your goals with this company? Where do you want to take it? I know we already discussed the liaison and the community outreach social impact.
The social impact, I think, is the main driver of my business. I want to be able to have, right now we have 3 other organizers with us, and I would love, they're all part-time, and I would love for them to be full-time, well taken care of employees who are proud of the company that they're working for. Like, that's my number one goal. I've worked for amazing people and I've worked for amazing people.
Yeah.
And I always said that when I become a boss, I want to be more of a leader than a boss. I want to inspire people to be the best that they have to offer. And the thing I love about my team is that everybody is different. And I love the fact that they can bring in new ideas. So I really want us to grow big enough that I can take my entire team and their families on a vacation once a year, or I can do like crazy awesome things for the community and just be okay with like, okay, I'll just write this big check to this nonprofit. You know, we can't give you the items that you need, but maybe we could just write a check for you. You know, luckily my husband and I were very comfortable in our lives as they are. So this just increases the amount that we're able to give like nobody else.
For sure. How do you scale this company?
I think I scale it by bringing on more organizers and getting them trained.
Okay.
So that's what I'm working on now. They're working with me one-on-one. Eventually, I will be bringing them on and getting them trained to the point where they will be going out in groups of 2. So I'll be having teams of people that will be able to go out and help, which will also open up our books. Because as of right now, we're typically booked about 6 weeks out in advance. So if somebody would like to come in with us, they have to understand that depending on the size of the project and the severity, you guys
already have work that you're working on right now?
Yes, we already have work that we're working on right now. Yeah. So right now, consultations are booking for February.
Okay, sweet. And, that might give people some time to prepare for it.
Yeah, which I think works great.
For sure. So any business advice you'd give to someone who's maybe wanting to start a business, or maybe has started a business and maybe they're struggling in it?
I think there's 3 pieces of business that I would recommend. Avoid debt at all costs. Try and do everything you possibly can with the cash you have, which I know is not always feasible, but don't get too caught up in that credit card that they'll love to give you.
For sure. Because you're kind of, I agree with that, because you're kind of not proving that you could do it without the money handed out. If you build the wealth yourself, or the cash flow yourself, then you're like, you can grow from there.
Yes, instead of being hindered.
Yeah.
And it gives you more opportunity to make decisions. Like, you can just say, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. So start with a solid budget first and foremost. Create a team of people around you that support you and know your weaknesses, but also know your worth. I think that that's one thing that us business owners struggle with, is particularly in the beginning, is that we don't believe that we should be getting paid to do what we're doing. Like, there's that, what's the word? Imposter syndrome almost.
Yes.
And one of my mentors, who had been a professional organizer for 30 years, said to me, she goes, Lauren, they hired you because they're overwhelmed. They don't even know where to start. And you already know where to start. So therefore, you're already 10 steps ahead of them. For sure. So they need you to help them start.
Exactly.
So if nothing else, you have the knowledge that they need. So you can do this.
For sure.
And I think that that goes for all businesses. Yeah. No matter how new or old you are, trust in the fact that you're doing what you're doing for a reason, and people trust you.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I agree with that too, because, with the video production, there's a lot of small things that I take for granted just because I learned them, and I forget all these little things that I've learned that someone who doesn't use a camera that often, or, doesn't do professional video, they just don't know it.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't know. I would have no idea.
Yeah. And so it makes 100% sense. There's one question that I'm wanting to start asking guests, and it's, what's one of your favorite books that you've read that's really helped change your life? Like, the most game-changing book that you've read, whether it be in business or in life or whatever.
I would say the most game-changing book that I've ever read in life in general is Hold Me Tight, 7 Conversations for a Lifetime of Love by Sue Johnson.
Okay.
And she talks about how the relationship is between two people. And it doesn't need to be a marriage. It could be sons and daughters, uncles, aunts. You usually have somebody who's a lasher-outer and you have somebody who's a shutter-downer. And when you understand people's defense mechanisms for when they're upset, you can really understand how to have better conversations, deeper, meaningful conversations, impactful, authentic conversations, and actually communicate better with people.
For sure.
And it goes across the whole board. So, I mean, even when I'm with clients, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. It makes sense because you're a lasher-outer, and I'm okay with that. Like, now, I'm not saying you can, like, lash out at me all the time,
sure,
but I
yeah,
understand, like, if you're frustrated and upset, you know, we can work through this because that's probably...
You have empathy for that.
You have empathy for it. You once you understand the why behind it, it's a lot easier to get to a resolution.
Instead of putting up your defense mechanisms, and now you're just...
Because I'm also a lasher,
Yeah.
so it would not go well.
Yeah.
But I think that book, honestly, has been one of the most influential books that I've read and reread over and over again. And it helps me understand my children. It helps me understand my parents. It helps me understand my teammates and my friends.
It's cool. It's that theme that you have with getting down to the root of things.
Yeah, it is. I didn't even think that was a theme in my life, but it is.
For sure. And that's a good theme to have.
It is.
So is there anything you'd like to promote today before we close this out?
No, I mean, honestly, if anybody has any nonprofits that they know of that are in need, please send them my way. I'm always looking for nonprofits to help support in any way, shape, or form.
Have you done the nonprofit challenge?
I have.
Okay.
I've done the nonprofit challenge.
I was just about the challenge.
I mean, I can do it again. I did it, and then I sponsored like 6 people or something like that.
Okay, sweet.
Because it's so important. And anybody that I can help in any way, like that's what we're here for. We are all in this together. So any way we can help each other.
For sure. All right. So where can people reach you?
They can reach us on Facebook, Instagram. I'm trying the TikToks.
Nice. Yes, I love the TikToks.
I'm trying.
You gotta watch out though, because it's designed to be like, you know, Facebook's bad with the dopamine. Like TikTok's
TikTok,
10 times worse.
That's why there's a huge ADHD community on TikTok, though, because it's our app.
Yeah, for sure.
Or you can give us a call. Our phone number is 719-660-0678.
And that's Clarity for Your Chaos.
Clarity for Your Chaos, yep.
Nice. Well, it was great having you on the show. And I guess we'll close this out.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor.
Yeah, definitely. So this has been the COS Business Podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.